Hi. It's late in the quiet way hospitals make the world feel smaller. Some stories don't begin with a fight or a phone call. They begin with a stranger standing close, reading your family's words out loud because your hands won't work right. Nora Bell is a senior director in cybersecurity, the kind of person who spends her days preventing disasters nobody ever hears about. What makes her experience hard to shake isn't the money she earned or the help she gave. It's the moment she realized her own family had already decided what her life was worth. This is the part she can still hear clearly. The room kept making small noises like it was trying to stay polite about what was happening to me. A monitor beeped. A pump clicked. My mouth felt like cotton and my arms were heavy with tape and tubing. A nurse stepped closer to the bed, gentle but businesslike. Nora, I can call your next of kin. You want that? My throat barely worked, so I nodded. She checked the chart, then my phone. Frank Bell. Dad. My father picked up after 2 rings. I heard his voice through the speaker, crisp and awake like he'd been waiting for something else. This is the intensive care unit at Stanford, the nurse told him. Your daughter is very sick. She has sepsis. The doctor would like family here. A pause. Air. Nothing more. She's stable, my father asked. Right now, she's critical but stable. The nurse replied, We need you to come. Another pause. Longer. We're out of town, he said. We'll see. The nurse kept her face neutral, but her eyes flicked to mine. Sir, this isn't optional. He exhaled, annoyed. Okay. The call ended. No reassurance. No. I love you. No. I'm on my way. My phone buzzed a little later. The screen swam until the nurse leaned in again. I can read it, she offered. I nodded. Once. She looked down, then up, like she wanted to make sure she'd seen it right. From your dad. Her voice stayed steady anyway. Honestly, it might be better for everyone if she doesn't make it. Something in my chest went still. Not my heart. Something else. We noticed the nurse didn't rush after that. She just stood there for a beat, like the room itself needed a second. She set the phone back in my hand. I'm going to get the doctor. When she left, I stared at the message until the words stopped moving. If this story lands close to home, you can leave a thought when you're ready. For now, I just want you to know what I did next started right there. With that screen glowing in my palm, the doctor came in with a tablet tucked against his chest and a look that tried not to promise anything. He talked about blood pressure and antibiotics and time. I listened the way you listen when you're too tired to argue with facts. After he left, the nurse came back with a fresh bag and a practiced calm. I'm going to adjust this, she said. If it burns, tell me. It's fine, I murmured, even though it wasn't. She glanced at my phone on the tray. Family on the way. No, she didn't push. She just nodded once and focused on the line in my arm. A little later, another nurse swapped in, younger. Nervous energy. She checked my wristband, then the chart. Your parents live in Arizona. Right. Yes. We can help with travel if they need it. They won't. She paused, then offered a small smile that didn't expect anything back. Okay. When the room went quiet again, I opened my messages. There were photos waiting, not sent to me. Posted, Frank on a golf course, sunglasses on, drink in hand, Marilyn by a pool, towel over her shoulders, Tyler grinning in a clubhouse mirror. The caption on my father's post said, Perfect weekend. I stared at it longer than I should have. Not angry, not surprised, just still. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Tyler. You okay? His message read. I typed back slowly. I'm in the ICU. A few seconds passed. Damn. That's rough. We're kinda tied up here. Everything's prepaid. I set the phone down. My hand shook, then settled. They weren't choosing the trip over me. They'd chosen a long time ago. I was just finally seeing it without the noise. The nurse came back and tucked the blanket higher. Try to rest. I will, I said, and meant something different than she thought. Because lying there, with machines doing the work my body couldn't, I understood something clean and sharp. They weren't waiting for me to get better. They were waiting for me to be done. The lawyer answered on the second ring. His voice was low, careful, like he already knew this wasn't a social call. "Nora," he said, "I heard you were in the hospital." "I am," I told him. "I need to fix something. Today." There was a pause, the kind that happens when someone clears a mental desk. "All right, tell me. I have a will," I said. "An old one. I remember. It names my parents and my brother." Another pause. Longer this time. "Do you want to change it?" "Yes." "How soon?" "Now." He didn't argue. He didn't ask why. He just said, "Okay, we'll revoke it and replace it. I'll send paperwork to the hospital." My throat tightened, not with sadness, but with something like embarrassment. "I should have done this years ago." "You did what made sense at the time," he said gently. "People don't plan for this kind of clarity." After the call, I stared at the ceiling. I remembered signing that will in my late 20s, sitting at a clean conference table, thinking it was the responsible thing. Family first. Keep it simple. No one had warned me that simple can turn into a trap. The nurse came back with a clipboard. "You have documents coming," she said. "We'll help you sign." "Thank you." She glanced at my face, then added quietly, "You don't have to explain anything." "I know," I said. When she left, I closed my eyes and pictured the old document, neat and unquestioned, finally being folded away, not out of spite, out of accuracy. The paperwork arrived faster than I expected. A nurse wheeled in a small stand with a tablet and a stack of forms clipped together. Edges neat like this happened all the time. "Your attorney emailed and faxed." She said, "We'll go page by page." A woman from the legal office appeared on the screen. Calm voice, steady pace. "Nora, if you need to stop, say so." "I'm okay," I told her. "Let's keep going." She read each section out loud. Revocation, replacement, trust language, medical decisions. I signed where she paused, my signature wobbling, then finding itself again. "Next," she said, and the document shifted. After that, I called my financial advisor. Laura answered like she'd been holding her breath since she heard. "I need changes," I said. "Not dramatic, just accurate." "All right," she said. "Walk me through it." "I want the transfers paused," I told her. "The mortgage support, the utilities, the cards." She didn't rush to fill the silence. Paused, or ended. "Paused," I said. "Convert the history to loans. Document everything. Third-party servicing. Interest. Yes. Schedule yes." She nodded on the screen. "Already typing." "We'll do it clean." When the call ended, my phone lit up again. A missed call from my mother. Then another. Then a text from my brother. "Dad says your card glitched. Can you fix it?" I turned the phone face down. The nurse came back to check my vitals. She adjusted the cuff and waited while the numbers settled. "You're doing a lot from this bed," she said lightly. "I won't be able to later." I replied. She didn't ask what I meant. She just tucked the sheet under my arm so the IV line wouldn't pull. A little while after that, another message buzzed through, this time from my father. "We need to talk." I looked at the ceiling instead. The tiles had a crack that branched like a thin line on glass. Things were already moving, quietly, without permission, and for the first time, I didn't feel like explaining myself to keep the peace. The first call came just after sunset. I recognized my father's number before the screen finished lighting up. I let it ring until it stopped on its own. A minute later, my brother's name replaced it. "Something's wrong," Tyler's message said. "The card got declined at dinner." I waited, counted my breaths, then typed back. "I'm still in the hospital." Dots appeared, disappeared. "We know. Dad's talking to the front desk. They're being weird about it." Another pause. Longer this time. They're saying the account's restricted. I set the phone down and watched the IV drip finish its slow descent. The nurse came in to change the bag, hands quick, movements practiced, pain level she asked. Manageable. She nodded and moved on. The phone buzzed again. This time it was my mother. Calling. I answered because the silence had done enough for the day. Nora, she started. Breath already shaky. We're stuck here. Everything's prepaid, but they won't let us charge anything else. Can you just fix whatever you did? I didn't do anything, I said quietly. Things are being reviewed. Reviewed by who professionals? Her voice tightened. Your father's embarrassed. I pictured him in a polo shirt, jaw clenched, waiting for someone else to make it right. That's unfortunate. I replied. She went quiet, then softer. You don't need to punish us like this. I'm not. I said. I'm resting. When the call ended, my brother tried again. You're really doing this? I didn't answer. I turned the phone face down and closed my eyes. Somewhere far from that room, dinner plates were being cleared, questions asked, limits enforced, and none of it required me to speak. I woke to my phone vibrating against the tray, a dull sound that kept going even after I opened my eyes. Missed calls stacked up, numbers I didn't recognize. A voicemail notification from my office. The nurse noticed me frowning. You okay, work? I said. I think? She gave me a look that said she'd heard worse excuses. Want a minute before vitals. Please. The voicemail was from Human Resources. Careful tone, polite concern. Hi, Nora. Your father reached out this morning. He said you might not be in a place to make decisions right now. We just wanted to check in. My stomach tightened, slow and cold. I called my lawyer instead. He contacted your employer. I told him. Implied I'm unstable. There was a brief pause, then the sound of a pen hitting paper. All right, that changes things. What happens now? We respond once, he said, in writing, and we document everything. Another message came through while we were still talking. This one from my mother. People are worried about you, she wrote. Maybe it would help if you let us explain. Explain what? That I'd stopped paying. That limits existed now. I'll handle it, my lawyer said. You don't need to. After the call, the nurse came back and checked my blood pressure. She frowned slightly, then adjusted the cuff. Try to stay calm. She said, I am, I replied, surprised to find it was true. Later that afternoon, a friend sent me a screenshot. Tyler had posted something vague online. No names, plenty of implication. I didn't respond, not to him, not to my parents. The noise had finally moved outside my room, and that's where it would stay. The letter went out the next morning. Not from me, from my lawyer. 3 pages. Calm language. Dates. Screenshots attached. I read it once before he sent it. Is this the only response I asked? Yes, he said. Anything else gives them room. Okay. After it was delivered, my phone stayed quiet for almost an hour. That was new. Then my mother called. I answered because the silence had shifted, not because I owed her anything. Nora, she began. Voice, careful now. Why are you doing this through lawyers? I'm not doing anything. I said, I'm letting it be handled. We're your family. I know. A breath. Then softer. Your father didn't mean what he said. I'm not discussing that. I told her. She hesitated, like she was deciding which version of me she was talking to. People are saying things. I'm aware. You're making this very public. I didn't, I said. You did. The line stayed open. I could hear background noise. A television. Someone moving dishes. When she spoke again, the edge was gone. What do you want from us? Nothing. She hung up without saying goodbye. Later that afternoon, my lawyer called back. We're filing for a restraining order. All of them. Yes. I closed my eyes and nodded, even though he couldn't see it. "All right," I said. "Do it." After the call, the nurse came in with a clipboard. "You're being discharged soon," she said. I smiled, small and tired. Some things were finally moving in the right direction. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Beige walls, a row of wooden benches that creaked when people shifted. My lawyer leaned in close before we were called. "You don't need to look at them," he said. "Just answer what's asked." I nodded and kept my eyes on the seal behind the judge's chair. My father spoke first. He stood straight, hands folded, voice measured. "My daughter has been under a lot of stress. She misunderstood a private message. We're concerned about her well-being." The judge glanced down at the papers, then up again. "The message is in evidence," she said. "We'll get to that." My mother dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. "We just want our family back," she said softly. When it was my turn, I stood because that's what everyone else had done. My legs shook for a second, then held. My lawyer slid a folder across the table. "Exhibit 3, he said. "Text message sent while Ms. Bell was in the intensive care unit." The judge read silently. Her face didn't change, but the room felt tighter. "Ms. Bell," she said, looking at me now. "Did you receive this message while hospitalized?" "Yes." "Did you invite further contact after that?" "No." She nodded once. "And the subsequent calls to your employer?" I answered that too. Short, clear. My brother tried to speak, but the judge raised a hand. "That's enough." She looked back at the file, then at my parents. "This court is granting a permanent restraining order. No contact, no proximity within 500 feet, no indirect communication." My mother gasped. My father's jaw set. As we stood to leave, my father reached toward me. Not far. Just enough. I stepped back, one pace. The bailiff moved between us, already practiced at this. Outside, my lawyer touched my arm. "It's done," I breathed out. Slow. And for the first time in weeks, nothing followed. 2 years passed without anything dramatic happening. No surprise calls. No letters slipped under my door. Just days stacking on top of each other. Steady and unremarkable in a way that felt earned. I moved into a smaller place closer to work. I started cooking again. Nothing fancy. Real food. I slept through the night more often than not. The trust paperwork became background noise. The scholarship launched without my name on it. I attended the first ceremony and sat in the back row. When one of the recipients came over afterward, she shook my hand and said, "Thank you for believing in people you've never met. I know what it's like to need a quiet break." I told her. A week later, my lawyer forwarded a letter. No return address. My father's handwriting. "I finally understand what we lost. That was all." I read it once. I didn't keep it. I didn't feel angry or tempted to respond. I just folded the paper and let it go. What changed wasn't my family. It was my sense of where I ended and they began. Nora Bell didn't disappear when she stopped fixing things. She showed up. Life didn't get louder after that. It got clearer, and clearer turned out to be enough. We noticed how the story didn't close with noise, only with space. If you're still here, you already know why that matters.